What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another live trading video here. Today I'm looking at Euro Yen, and I've got a position that I just opened and shared with members inside of the group. And what we're going to do, if you're not familiar with these live trading videos, is I basically take trades in front of the camera, start to finish, whether it is a winner or loser, and I post it to YouTube for you guys to hopefully get some sort of value out of. Now, if you like that sort of concept, make sure you're subscribed to the channel down below so that you can see this more often. I do these relatively frequently. It just allows me to kind of journal my own trades and also to share hopefully some insightful content with you guys out there watching the channel. We just jump into this Euro Yen kind of concept. I'm going to actually start by talking about what I shared out this morning here with members. So what you can see is we'll just pull this up here. So you can see that I actually shared a long idea on Euro Yen this morning inside of the A1 trading community. If you're not familiar with this is basically a service that myself and my company run where we have a community online for people who are interested in trading together, sharing ideas, concepts, discussing all that sort of stuff. And I also share my personal trades as well as some of our other traders sharing their concepts here as well. You can see Frank is in here, Eddie, Anders, a couple different people sharing their concepts. So I have a long idea here on Euro Yen. And I said I'm taking a buy here as we saw some strength on the euro during the London session, and I think that this retest could potentially hold for more upside. I have a small risk on this trade, and if price decides to reverse on me, I'm hoping to let this, I'll basically stop out if it reverses on me, but I'm hoping to let this one run if at all possible. So I can pull up the screenshot here. Basically very, very simple. We have a lot of momentum to the upside here. The trend is pretty strong to the upside on Euro Yen on the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart. So I jumped in on the 30-minute chart and just entered this position here this morning. So price broke through and basically retested. I got in and shared the trade with everyone. So back to the chart really quick, you can see here's kind of an update. So we jumped into this position on a very, very simple concept. So basically price was kind of finding resistance in this area. We had a topping point. And then this morning, when I first got to the charts, I see price heading up and breaking through that topping point. And then I entered on the retest. Now, it's a very shallow retest. We didn't get a huge break. It's not like we saw a ginormous move and then a retest and then a ginormous move. This is a rather shallow break, which, may be concerning, which I guess, to be fair, if price just comes shooting back down, I have my risk managed for a reason. So if price comes down, it is what it is. I'll stop out of the trade and move on to something else to trade. But my concept here is I'm hoping for the higher time frames to carry this trade a little bit. So if I jump onto the 4-hour chart, you can see we kind of had this this concept here where we were trending down. We had a lot of downtrend strength there, but then price basically broke out. Now if you see on the 4-hour chart, we kind of have this upward trend right now where price is just showing a lot of demand, right? We're seeing the breakout. This key level right here was big because when we broke through this level, that to me was like, okay, that's a pretty big barrier of resistance, because you can see multiple times here we saw sellers basically holding this area, right? Well, we broke through, we retested and shot to the upside. So now that gives me this kind of interest in looking for long opportunities to see if this market wants to run further. So again, then we take a look at the 1-hour chart and the 30-minute chart, and that gives us our reasoning for entry. So we'll see if this one plays out. Of course, I could be completely wrong about this and we could end up taking a loss, and that's going to happen sometimes. Sometimes your analysis seems pretty good and you just still end up taking a loss. And in that case, I'm sure I'll get plenty of comments on why I should have done it differently. That's just what happens on YouTube. But this is my setup. I'm happy with it, and I'm going to film it start to finish. Hopefully you guys get some sort of value, and I'll be right back with an update on this trade. What's up, you guys? It is a few days later here, and I'm currently looking at Euro Yen, kind of doing an update here on this particular trade. So if you remember from the previous analysis, basically we were looking for the break and looking to kind of go long on the retest. Now, the retest was a bit early, I will admit. It was not the perfect timing for me in terms of getting involved with the trade. And so let me kind of clarify what I mean by that. If we drop it down to the 1-hour chart, you can actually see that we got into the trade back here at this point. Now, when it comes to entries, people are obsessed with entries. Everybody wants to get that perfect entry. that gets you right into the trade right before it goes into profit. But unfortunately, the reality of Forex and the reality of just trading and investing in general is timing is one of the most incredibly difficult parts of choosing a investment that is going to make money, right? It's just, that's the truth. It's very, very difficult to time the market well. Now, my idea here is that the trend is up, there's a lot of strength, and I just want to be involved in it. So my timing here was just, okay, I'm going to take the retest of this market after we break through, which we did. And what you'll notice is we entered into this really painful, weird consolidation timing, right? So for the next day and a half, 2 days, we saw really nothing but sideways movement on this euro yen move. Now, fortunately, I stuck to the analysis, I stuck to my trade, and I didn't just close out or get frustrated. I just decided to wait it out and see if the overall trend could continue. And sure enough, check what happened. You can actually see we've run up very nicely here in the London and the New York session. So London was right around here. I was sleeping like a baby during this. But then here in the New York session this morning, you can see we've had a nice follow through so far. So hopefully that continues and keeps going in our favor. But you can see this is the 1 hour chart. If we back it out to you go over here and choose 4 hour chart, you can see for the most part, this upward trend is continuing, which is really, really nice. And what we're looking for. Now, we have not quite hit any point where I want to trail my stop. So let me show you where that would kind of interest me. If we do make it up to that 1 hour point, if we hit up into this point, I would probably be interested in trailing my stop. But let me tell you why I'm not really interested in trailing the stop right away. If I trail the stop up to this point and we see a very normal retest of this area, I could get preemptively stopped out before the trend continues. So I do want to be patient with this. I do want to give it the chance it needs to run rather than try and put my stop right next to price right away. A lot of times what happens is people want to put a stop loss that is so incredibly tight that they get stopped out again and again and again by the market. My goal is to let this trend continue if it wants to and stop out if it doesn't. That is my only task in this trade. So to do that more effectively, I'm gonna let it try to see if it can rise. Now, if it does get to a point where it starts breaking new highs a little bit more, if we get past the 1 hour point, I might actually be interested in moving that stop up to break even. For now, I'm taking my time. I'm sitting on my hands. It's a little bit difficult to do, but we're going to wait on this trade to see if we can get a little bit more profit. So I am out there on euro yen here for a loss. You can actually see, unfortunately, what was starting out to be a good trade ended up not working out as well as we had hoped for. Now we're looking at the 1 hour chart and you can see for the most part, things were in a pretty strong upward motion. And I feel like our entry was actually decent, but sometimes this is just what's going to happen. You're going to have something that looks pretty promising. And unfortunately, it just does not work out. Now I'm happy to get out of this trade because at this point, things are looking pretty bearish on euro yen. You can actually see that we broke our initial concept of this upward trend line, and our breakout, which initially started out strong, failed and did not look great. You can actually see some nice rejection candles there for sellers, and congrats to anybody who made money on the downside. Clearly, I was wrong about this trade, and this is just what's going to happen sometimes, is unfortunately, your stops are going to get hit. So the purpose with this video is to show a loser, to show that nobody is perfect when it comes to trading. And anytime I post a video where I take losses, there are people out there who, of course, comment on the video and they say, oh, well, you should have looked at this, or, oh, you should have known because of this. And the reality is, if anybody knew that perfectly, they would be, if anybody was perfect on the charts, they would be a multi-trillionaire within just a few short years. Because if you had a 100% win rate, anybody could get really, really rich. But this stuff takes time. It is part of the process to take losses, and it's important to talk about them. So I'm happy with this trade, even though it resulted in a loss. I'm happy because we stuck to the plan. I took a trade that I think was actually a decent setup, and unfortunately it just did not work out, and that's why we have our risk managed for a reason. Took a small loss, and we'll move on to something else. Thanks for watching, and I hope you got something out of it. We'll see you back in the next video.